So picture this. Core i9-3980HX CPU, RTX 4090 GPU running at 175 watts, 64 gigabytes of memory, a mini LED display, all packed inside a chassis that's less than an inch thin. Folks, this is the brand new Lenovo Legion 9i. This is Legion's flagship gaming laptop, superseding the Legion 7i series. And it doesn't come cheap. The base spec starts at $3,800 US with the 4080. This spec in particular will set you back $4,500. You might be wondering, why? Why does this even exist? Well, simply put, they need to compete with the likes of Razer, Asus, and Alienware that are trying to push high performance into the thinnest possible chassis. And well, this is what we get. But there's more to the 9i than you think. Legion is trying to think outside of the box to deliver something unique that can turn some heads. This is the world's first gaming laptop with an integrated liquid cooling system. So they teamed up with Cooler Master to design a teeny tiny water pump to cool the GPU. So when temperatures reach 84°C, the system engages the water pump to push additional 10 watts and, of course, runs the components cooler, and vice versa when you're performing casual tasks. You also get a set of replaceable ceramic keycaps. Basically, this is Legion's ultimate laptop that showcases the best of the best tech. A lot of it even the 7 series don't get access to. That's pretty darn impressive. But how does that translate to real life? We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, but first, a quick word from today's video sponsor. Be ready to be captivated by a fusion of vivid colors, deeper blacks, and a wicked fast 240Hz refresh rate with Corsair's Xeneon Flex gaming monitor, featuring the world's first bendable OLED display in a stunning 45-inch WQHD ultra-wide aspect ratio. Immerse yourself in gaming and other productive tasks. You get all the extra goodies for ultimate speed and precision within a game, get quick access to a few USB ports at the front and plenty of other display connectivity options at the back, and all this tech is backed with their advanced burn-in protection and a 3-year warranty. If you're looking to flex your gaming setup, look no further than Corsair's Xeneon Flex. Learn more down below. First, I want to go over this brand new design ID. So the top lid consists of aviation-grade carbon fiber materials, which are hand-applied to the panel, so it's a one-of-a-kind look that would be unique to you. This also contributes to the overall weight of the chassis, since the rest of the frame is made out of 90% recycled magnesium alloy, so they're trying to contribute towards the sustainability aspect, which I do appreciate. This whole thing weighs close to 5.5 pounds or 2.5 kilos, which is pretty similar to the Blade 16. It also maintains a similar Z height coming at 0.89 inches. But the interesting thing here is that you're not sacrificing on build quality. The whole chassis is put together really well with a robust hinge that barely exhibits any wobble, and the lid doesn't flex as much. With every Legion laptop, you can expect this extension at the back that houses all the ports, and thankfully the 9i doesn't compromise here. In fact, they did finally bring back the I/O lighting, which I'm sure is going to come in clutch when you have a bunch of different cables plugged in at the back. Speaking of which, you get RJ45, HDMI 2.1, a couple of Thunderbolt 4 ports, USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A, and power in. And towards the left, you get a headphone jack with a full-size SD card reader that unfortunately isn't UHS 2 compliant. This is a huge missed opportunity for Legion. Switching over to the right, there is a Type A and Type C port, along with a kill switch for the webcam. Now, I do appreciate the placement of this Type A port, since it allows me to conveniently plug in my mouse without having to bump into it every time while I'm gaming. It's the little attention to details that matter, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around why these Type A ports are capped at 5 gigabits per second versus 10 gigabits per second. I mean, for the price that Legion's asking for, it is unacceptable in my opinion. Visually, you're greeted with some tasteful RGB elements throughout the perimeter of the chassis, like this RGB strip at the back right above the I/O that's diffused evenly. It is subtle, and you can see that it extends towards the front as well, although I did notice that the brightness levels between both those zones were slightly different. The Legion logo features RGB as well, and you can customize the effects through Vantage, but I have had my fair share of issues with that software, which I'll get to in a bit. Now, the interior space is where you'll notice a huge shift from the rest of Legion's lineup. They've moved the entire full-size keyboard towards the middle in order to accommodate their advanced cooling system to keep temperatures under control, because running a 4090 at 175 watts isn't an easy task. That too in a laptop that's super thin. But are you sacrificing on the typing experience? Well, first off, the keys themselves are one of, if not the best that you can find for a laptop. It's miles better than the Razer Blade 16, and ROG's offerings. I also prefer the font style compared to what ROG has. There's plenty of travel, great feedback, and it just feels robust when you just start bottoming out. Heck, it's better than my MacBook Pro. I just said it. The placement of this keyboard didn't really affect my comfort level, as I was completely fine writing out emails and scripting. It doesn't affect my gameplay as well. The real issue is when you start using the trackpad. Now, while the surface is glass and it's easy to navigate with, you just feel cramped when you're moving windows around the desktop. Plus, there's no room to comfortably place your palms when you shift from using the keyboard to the trackpad. I did find some workarounds, like using my right thumb to be my main pointer instead of my index finger, and then if I needed to scroll or perform tasks that require left or right clicks, I bring in my index finger and I just take advantage of gestures, like the tap gestures. I know, it's super unconventional at first, but I guess you'll get used to it over time. Plus, none of this would even matter if you end up plugging in an external mouse when you start gaming. There's also a lot of fine-tuning that needs to be done with the drivers because sometimes the clicks just don't register. It just needs work. Now, I want to quickly talk about the extra set of keycaps and scissor switches included with the 9i. I think this is a brilliant feature in case you end up rage quitting and smashing the keyboard until it gives up. Plus, it gives you an extra layer of customizability. So first off, they come in this handy-dandy case with a removable tool and instruction set. Replacing the keycaps is pretty straightforward. Remember, you can only replace the typewriter keys, so simply use the tool to pry open the keycap and swap it out with the new one, and that's pretty much it. Replacing the switch was also pretty straightforward. Lenovo does have a tutorial video that guided me throughout the process, and I've got to say, the keycaps feel different. I mean, it's smoother and slippery, as well as they have this metallic clicky sound every time I register the key. It's different, but you know, if you don't like it, you can go back to the regular keys. The RGB lighting does not shine through the surface. I mean, it would be cool if Legion starts selling custom keycaps for these laptops. Then again, it poses an interesting question. Will we start seeing those DIY enthusiast level keyboard features like sound dampening materials and lubed switches trickle down into laptop keyboards? I would love to hear from you guys. Now, the RGB lighting on the 9i was a bit finicky, as I mentioned earlier. So the lighting is gorgeous, but customization is where you'll end up scratching your head. Legion has 6 different profiles built in, and if you want to change the effect to static, it just didn't really work on my sample. I don't know why. Maybe it is just a software optimization issue. Again, this is a pre-production sample, so maybe that could be it. But yeah, that was really frustrating. I should also mention that the fingerprint reader is integrated with the power button, and it features a ring light, so it switches the color based on which performance mode you're in. Now, quick word on the power bricks, and yes, you do end up getting 2 separate power adapters. The first one is this 330 watt GAN charger, and it's actually pretty compact. I'm surprised at how small it is compared to Legion's previous offerings. So this is what you can use to sort of like plug this in and get the full performance mode. But let's say you're taking this thing to class and you just want to juice up the battery for, you know, note-taking and stuff like that. Then Legion also includes a really handy 140 watt adapter with a USB Type-C connection. So that is very thoughtful. I want to see more laptop manufacturers incorporate this. It's really cool. All right, so we're jumping into a quick webcam test for the 9i, and as you can see, the quality looks pretty good. Legion is using a 1080p sensor, and the details are really good. The microphone sounds decent as well. It picks my vocals, no problem. Quick word on speakers. They're decent. I wouldn't say it's the best out there. They are still bottom facing, but they have a lot of output, so it'll get the job done for, you know, YouTube and just casual stuff. But I'm pretty sure most people are going to end up using headphones anyways. The 16-inch display features a stunning 3.2K mini LED panel that naturally comes in the 16:10 aspect ratio, and it's 165 Hz. So it pretty much checkmarks everything that you can ask for in a gaming laptop. It covers 100% sRGB, 88% Adobe RGB, and 98% P3. So it's pretty much in line with the Blade 16. So if you want to get any creative work done, this thing will do the job, no problem. I still had a great time gaming on this display. It's awesome. You're still in for a treat. Now, when we get underneath the hood, things start to look slightly different from a standard gaming laptop. So the SOTA memory is unfortunately located on the other side of the PCB, so that's not accessible. However, the SSDs are located right over here, and as you can see, there is an extra M.2 slot for expansion. The drive speeds are, as expected, wicked fast. I got over 6 GB per second on read and a little over 5 Gs with write. In terms of that memory configuration, well, Legion's only offering 2 SKUs, so the 4080 with 32 gigs and I think the 4090 with 64 gigabytes. I don't think you would need to upgrade past 64 gigabytes for a gaming laptop, so I think it kind of does make sense. And again, given the complexity of the engineering that went behind this design, it's fine. Now, if you take a look at that cooling system, you can clearly see how the fans are designed to ensure proper intake and exhaust. We've seen something similar with the Alienware laptops, but those have significant thermal limits. So what do temperatures and clock speeds look like on the 9i? Well, to give you a bit of context, I'm going to compare this to the Razer Blade 16 with the exact same specs because they're also priced similarly as well. And wow, it's pretty incredible to see how that teeny tiny water pump can make a difference with temperatures and clock speeds for the RTX 4090 laptop GPU, despite it running at an insane 171 watts in its highest performance mode. There's a day and night difference in noise levels, plus when we analyze the balance setting and silence settings, the 9i draws less power while maintaining significantly higher clock speeds. That plus lower temperature levels and quieter acoustics is a massive win for the engineering team at Legion. Seriously, you guys deserve a massive round of applause for designing this system. The CPU also gets some love as well. Keep note that there isn't a huge difference between the 3980HX on the 9i versus the 3950HX on the Blade 16, other than a slightly higher boost bump. At the highest performance mode, the 9i and the Blade 16 were pretty much neck to neck. However, balanced and silent modes is where you'll see a clock speed bump since Legion is pumping a little bit more power into the chip. The drawback is that it does run a bit louder than the Blade 16. But you know what? The performance improvement you get with real-world applications, specifically with balance mode, is a day and night difference. You see, I usually run my laptops in this mode since it's way quieter and practical, so the time difference alone in 3D render apps is a great bonus for the 9i. I mean, sure, when you run both laptops at its high setting, they level out, but I think the 9i just gets the edge here. And if you're wondering about video editing performance, well, they both perform about the same. In terms of gaming performance, well, to be honest, you're really not getting that much performance improvements compared to the Blade 16. I'm jumping right into 1440p right away since it's most likely the resolution that most people would game at since the GPU is well capable of that. The 9i does take a slight edge in some games by a few frames per second, but guys, it is really not that noticeable to the naked eye. At 4K, it's pretty much the same story, but keep in mind that to get this level of performance with much lower noise levels compared to the Blade is pretty awesome. Again, this is an engineering sample, so a lot of games do still need some optimization, so it's something to be aware of. So that's the story with the Lenovo Legion 9i. I think this is a phenomenal gaming laptop. There's just so much work that went into creating the super slim chassis. There's a lot of cool features like this really unique carbon fiber top lid. It's, again, very unique. It's pretty much kind of like a personal touch, I guess, if you put it that way. And of course, you're getting a super lightweight design with incredible performance. I mean, the fact that it can run that 4090 at really cool temperatures is pretty insane. It's also pretty quiet too when you're gaming compared to something like the Blade 16. Again, this is the stuff that you would expect from a laptop that's maybe, I don't know, double the size in terms of thickness, like the GT77 or the Scar 17, for instance, right? But the fact that you're getting that in a somewhat portable laptop is pretty insane. I think this is for those pro elite gamers who just want the best of the best in a portable form factor. So yeah, good stuff, Legion. Let us know what you guys think about it in the comments. I'm Ibor with Hardware Canucks. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Spend responsibly.